Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Emily Lee, and I'm excited to present our work on non-invasive fetal electroencephalography. Every year, over 35,000 newborn babies in the U.S. alone suffer from preventable brain injury at birth. Fetal brain injury is the leading cause of worldwide lifelong disability, the leading cause of childhood death before the age of 5, and a significant contributor to the rising costs of medical care. Birth is naturally a low oxygen state for the baby due to contractions, but dangerously low oxygen states lead to irreversible brain injury and even death. So how do obstetricians identify and prevent this? Currently, we rely on fetal heart rate monitoring to detect low oxygen states in the fetus. However, despite widespread use of this technology since the 1970s, the incidence of cerebral palsy, which is a form of brain injury from low oxygen status, has not decreased, which is shown in blue. Instead, the incidence of cesarean section, which is shown in red, has steadily increased. So what might explain this discrepancy? Heart rate changes reflect downstream effects of oxygenation. Before birth, the baby relies on oxygen delivery from the mother through the placenta. When the baby's brain detects low oxygen states, the heart rate will then respond. However, this reflects downstream effects of low oxygen and can be misleading. As an obstetrician myself, I have personally experienced this discrepancy. In one case, I delivered a baby by emergency C-section due to an abnormal heart rate tracing concerning for imminent brain injury. But after delivery, the baby had no signs of brain injury or hypoxia, thankfully. However, this discrepancy between the heart rate tracing and the actual outcome illustrates the limitations of our current methods. On the other hand, false negatives can also occur from this discrepancy, leading to devastating consequences. In one of the most harrowing cases I've had, I discharged a stable patient from the hospital after a normal fetal heart rate tracing, and she returned less than 24 hours later with a stillbirth. Thus, relying on downstream effects can be costly, with both potential harms to the baby and unnecessary interventions for the mother. So can we shift the paradigm of fetal monitoring and move from current heart rate methods, go upstream and directly measure the baby's brain? The science does support this. Fetal brain activity can be precisely measured by electroencephalography or EEG. EEG has been long used in adult and pediatric medicine as a primary neurologic diagnostic tool. Importantly, EEG has been shown to be an earlier detector of neurologic damage compared to heart rate changes. So why don't we use fetal EEG if it's that good? Unfortunately, prior fetal EEG required invasive monitoring, specifically attaching a negative pressure suction cup and a metal electrode to the baby's head. This approach, of course, is neither feasible nor safe for large-scale clinical use. Here is where our innovation comes to play. We have harnessed advances in artificial intelligence to develop a proprietary algorithm to non-invasively obtain fetal EEG from the maternal abdomen. The algorithm filters out noise and artifacts from other unwanted electrical signals such as muscle, cardiac, and movement activity. Our innovation correctly identifies and reconstructs the baby's brain activity through EEG. Here is a representative data of A, EEG monitoring from the maternal abdomen without our algorithm with extensive noise signaling, which is clinically useless. B, application of one of our deep neural networks. And C, a finalized clean EEG validated to age-matched newborns reviewed by pediatric neurologists at Yale. Our non-invasive fetal EEG offers significant market potential. We aim to first target the fetal monitoring sector, but this is only one of many applications for this technology. In the US alone, there are over 3.75 million births a year, and we estimate a substantial inpatient demand. There is also significant outpatient prenatal care demand, with projected estimates shown above. Beyond the device itself, recurring revenue streams will come from device maintenance, annual software subscriptions, and replaceable EEG electrodes between patients. While we are in our early stages of research, we have accomplished a lot in less than 2 years and are only gaining momentum. So far, we have developed and refined an algorithm. The research has been funded by an NIH award until this July, and with that award, we have clinically validated the algorithm in a pregnant population. And lastly, we have filed a provisional patent with the help of Yale Ventures. Looking ahead, we want to partner with a team of funders to support our next steps. With funding today, we would continue in our momentum and work towards two critical objectives. First, the development of a clinical nomogram and formal validation, and second, development of a wearable device. The funding would go towards our research staff and subject recruitment, EEG machines to increase recruitment capacity, and collaboration with engineers to develop a wearable device that we've already designed. Our ultimate goal is to secure long-term funding for clinical trials to evaluate the impact of non-invasive fetal EEG on the primary outcome of birth injury. Receiving funding today would provide the support we need to build upon our existing traction, advance our work, and ultimately move us closer to translating our research into improving the outcomes for mothers and babies. Thank you so much for your time, and I'd love to take questions and feedback now.
Thank you. I think you did a really nice job explaining the need for higher fidelity monitoring, and from your personal experience, it's great to hear. I'm curious, we've looked at EEG, machine learning before, and I think it's a really exciting emerging field. One of the areas is always, are you device agnostic or do you create your own device? So I'm curious, it sounds like you're going down the path of creating your own device versus leveraging the existing EEGs.
Yeah,
would love to hear more about that.
That's a great question. So if you know the EEG world, a lot of them, because they're placed on the head, there's wearable caps. So they're kind of like put in a mesh. And of course, you can't put it on a fetus's head. So essentially, when we were testing our preliminary data, we were single-handedly, I was pasting like 20 electrodes on the abdomen. And we thought it would actually be better both for the machine learning side and also for the patient experience to have kind of like a wearable belt. And so it's not really, I would say, high level. It's kind of simple and elegant, is basically embedding these electrodes into like a wearable maternity belt, which is actually on the market for more like support, and kind of sewing these in so that they're always in the same place. So I think actually that simplicity helps us because we're not really reinventing the wheel. We're kind of building on what we know works and is good.
Yeah. So I guess to that point, is the algorithm portable? In other words, could you plug it in to other devices, other backends, other sort of medical systems?
Yeah, that's a great question. That is the ultimate goal, and that definitely can happen. That's usually what's happening in cardiac monitoring right now. So in terms of software-wise, my brother is a software engineer, and he does a lot of this software to hardware. He says that's definitely possible. Right now, with our preliminary data, we've only been working on this for about a year and a half. We actually are doing it, obviously, Dr. Cortez Briones is doing it on his laptop, but that's the goal, is to embed it into a wearable device. That's a great question. Thank you.
So thank you for a very good presentation, high unmet need as well. Our fund does focus on women's health research and startups as well, just for the information here, if anybody has a cool project. So what about competition here? Because I at least have come across other doings, various censoring things, also minimal invasive or non-invasive as well. Have you looked into who you're up against?
So yes, so there's portable, kind of like our previous presenter, there's kind of portable wearable devices that are at home, but they use exclusively cardiac monitoring. And I've actually met that group at our national conference. It's great, you could do that cardiac monitoring at home, but I think really the root of what my experience is, and I think one of the standstills in OB research is that cardiac monitoring is good, but there is probably something better.